Okay, I'm back. I just ordered some beer. So, I think Lord of the Rings is a beautiful reflection of the battle within all of us, right? I mean, all of us have toxicity within all. It's in within all. All of us have narcissism to some degree or some way. All of us have bravery. All of us have cowardice to some degree, to some way. It's like this is how I see people. Where there's this uniqueness in the analysis that I'm giving right now of a human being. In that, I mean, if you're talking about like a really bad guy um, who like deserves to be in a story, who's not lukewarm and yon yon, there's going to be something within his character which is redeemable and likable, right? I mean, that's human nature, and it's the epic levels of toxicity which make them the bad guys, right? But there's going to be some other aspect to them that is, just it can be very beautiful. And anyways, so we're still talking about writing right now, and I'll get to my point at the end. But writing, I was on the streets and people would come by. Some of them would talk to me, and that was nice. And I told them some of them. I told them I was a story writer, and they told me, okay, tell me a story, right? And it's like I looked at them with pity. I'm like, what the fuck? Tell you a story? Fuck you, it's like, fuck you, you know. I'm not gonna fucking tell you a story like I'm a fucking clown. And that wasn't my thoughts at all. I mean, again, my thoughts were of pity because it's like this guy's probably very intelligent in his own way. He might have a degree in business or chemistry or fucking whatever. Good for him. But it's like, hey, bud, you've never done story writing before. I tried when I was a teenager and I failed, and I'm doing it now, and I don't consider myself an expert story writer. I'm a journeyman. I'm trying to learn. But I told him I'm writing movies and shows, right? I'm writing movies and shows. If I wanted to write a novel, that's that's like fucking chemistry versus biology, right? To like to create a 2 to 3 minute story or 5 minute story, that's very admirable. Like, oh my god, that's kind of top of your game maybe to be able to. Now, like me, I could create a 2 3 minute story within some of the stories that I'm writing, right? But there's this context there, and I'm able to do it. But to do a 2 to 5 minute story, just a short little story that I can tell you while you're waiting, on this red light, fuck, that's another thing altogether, right? Um, there's insults, right? Um, um, I mean, there's a real talent to people who do insults, you know. Um, and we love to just sit back and watch people insult each other. As long as hopefully they're doing it in a lighthearted manner and not seriously. But my tobacco. But I mean, there's just because you love words doesn't mean um, that you're good at insults. To be good at insults, that's a whole different. fucking ball game, right? Um, I mean, and again, like within my writing, I can be good at insulting, because there's a context and there's a, it's part of the story, you know. But insulting on its own is a whole different thing, right? Um, I mean, one of the things that fascinates me is that in order to read the laws that are put out by the U.S. government, you have to speak a foreign language, right? A foreign language called legalese, right? Um, and that's kind of annoying, right? They're kind of, maybe you could say they're hiding the laws, right? Or trying to hide the laws by putting the language or the laws in a foreign language called legalese. So on one level there is, some frustration, but as a lover of words, it sounds kind of exciting to me, like, how do they do it? um there's this idea, or not idea, actually, it's not really out there, but there's this okay, think about this. There's these classics, right? um that we go to the library and we look through all the books that are out there, and there are the so-called classics, right? Now, these these classics, think about the nature of the words within them. So think about an Eminem song, and if Eminem has a song out there and he makes a reference to another rapper, or he makes a reference to a cultural event, or a recent event, that is going to be less likely to be a so-called classic, right? Because people in the future aren't going to know who the rapper is. Come in. That he's talking about. I'm making a video right now. So, he's not. They're not going to know that rapper. They're not going to know that cultural event. So, some words have a lasting nature to them. You know. Um, I think maybe something comparable would be in art, right? In modern artistic anime and stuff, they have this thing called, like, something, the levels of ambiguity or something, and that is to make the character less detailed. Actually allows the viewer to connect more, but to the less detailed characters. Um, and so language that's maybe more ambiguous, more general, has more lasting nature to it, right? But then again, let's go deeper into this nature of these so-called classics that are handed down to us. What does that mean? That they're classic, right? If we talk about Charles Dickens, or we talk about Shakespeare, or we talk about, anybody from the past, we're not talking about everybody in our day, right? To write is like can be like time traveling. You're going to communicate with someone in the future, but the person that you're going to communicate in the future with, I mean, think about like a classroom and they're learning Charles Dickens. Nobody's going to care. They're like in 1,000 years from now, if you make it into the classics, and the kids out there are studying in a classroom 1,000 years from now, 99% of the kids are going to be thinking about the parties and who they're going to have sex with, and what games they're going to play. They're not going to be they're not going to care about you, and you're going to be the annoying part of their day where they have to write a paper on you. It's that one person in the class who's inspired by your stuff, right? So words do have this time traveling nature to them. Um, but um, but think about this. Modern linguistics. I saw this class done by this one black linguistic guy. And it was an amazing class. I think he might have been even British, maybe. He might have had an accent. I could be wrong. But it was a brilliant class. And in it, they were talking about one of the big things in his lecture was that language is a living thing. It's like a living being, right? And um, so you have a language, and it's alive at that time. And so if something bad happens, or not even bad happens, if there's a cultural split, especially a regional split that's based on geographics, um, what's going to start to happen is that if these people aren't talking to each other, then eventually both of these different regions are going to end up being different dialects. And if that keeps happening, they're going to, or no, it's going to start out with accents. Sorry. So they're going to start to have different accents, and then they're going to start to have different dialects. And eventually, I don't know if there's one in between dialects and language, but eventually they're gonna have their own. It's going to be two different languages, right? And that's because language is a living thing. If you look at just in the 1950s, they spoke in a certain way. In the 1960s, language is of the now. It is. It's of us. It's living within us right now. And so if we add this to this whole classics discussion, that doesn't make, I mean, I think there's probably plenty of songs in Eminem's collection that can be considered classics, but there's also some songs that are highly of the moment, but they're all of the moment, like, just because you write something that has staying power, um, doesn't mean it's better than something that's of the now. Because even then, you'll have like sociologists who study they'll be studying the sociology of our times, of Eminem's times. And so these sociologists will be able to understand the Eminem songs that are of the now. You know what? And again, this is a discussion on the word. And I think I could just keep going on and on and on. But the lesson is that I think the word is infinity, right? There's no one way for you to learn how to be a writer. You have to find your own way. You have to wade through this mist. Language is a beautiful thing, and I believe that language is infinity.